Howdy, everybody. How are you? Welcome back to the Southwest Barrels podcast. It has been a hot minute since I have done a podcast. I think you guys can figure out the reasons why. It has to do with Deb getting sick and taking care of her, and I just haven't had the time lately for to do podcasting with all the stuff going on in the arena. So, so I got a good one for you today. I'm going to talk about something simple. Just showing up and being present in the barrel racing world. Even when you're not competing, like me, if I'm not working, I'll go to a race and I'll go hang out and root for some people and take some videos of some people and just hang out and talk to some barrel racers, some barrel racing parents and grandparents. And that's kind of the reason why I go to other races. Plus, it also gets me away from editing photos. So it gives me a nice break because I'm always in the arena working and nobody wants to bother me when I'm in the arena working. So that's the gist of it. I basically like going and watching barrel races. What was really cool is back a couple weeks ago, I realized it was like the ninth anniversary of me being at a barrel race. And in case you don't know, the first barrel racer I seen was Dakota Kitchen, and she was a peewee, and the horse bolted on her, and the horse ran around the arena at like 800 miles an hour. And while everybody in the arena was panicking and hopping over the fences and trying to stop the horse and stuff, I was sitting there saying, "Wow, this kid's great," and I'm taking pictures with the camera. I had no clue, but it was kind of weird that I realized that it was exactly 9 years to the day, and I was standing in the same spot in the arena, but next to me was Dakota Kitchen. And it was really like a really cool full circle moment that I didn't have any experience or even plan on doing it too. So that was kind of cool. But like I said, a lot of people don't want to talk to me during a race. They figure I'm busy. And to be honest with you, a lot of the barrel races are busy, either at the trailer, giving their horses some treats and getting saddled and all that fun stuff that you guys do that I don't get to see because I'm in the arena waiting for you to show up. So if you've noticed the last couple barrel races, I've been wandering around the parking lot like just before the race and talking to people and stuff like that. Kind of gives me my sanity before all the chaos starts in the arena too. So, but it's cool. I get to talk to moms, grandparents, riders, people who've been around for years that I've met up and talked with too. And I also get to meet a bunch of new people because when I stop by a trailer that a trainer is at, they normally have some students there, and I get to meet them. So it's like a little full circle moment. So, but that's why I started Southwest Barrels in the first place. It's more than taking photos and results. It's about people, meeting people, and the stories that don't make it into the spotlight, which I'm going to share more of because a lot of stuff happens at barrel races that I see that I should be sharing, and I don't because I really don't have no outlet to share the stories unless I do a Facebook live, which I've been doing once a week over on our YouTube and Facebook channels. So, what's new? Let's see. We have a couple things. First off is the binder of awesome. I back. Let me go back a little bit on this. I wasn't planning on it, but back when I first started, probably like I don't know 6 months in or whatever, I started to print photos from the week before, and Deb didn't like it, the idea that I was bringing photos to the race and giving them away because it cost money out of my pocket, and I wasn't making any money at the time. I wasn't charging for photos, but I would give them out, and a lot of the times the riders didn't know about the photos, and they just sat there in an envelope, and nobody really took their photos, and I ended up like throwing them away. So it was kind of sad. But the ones that did take their photos, the people that I knew and I told them about, they absolutely loved it. And to see the smile on the young kids' faces was awesome. I'm really disappointed in myself that I didn't do it from time to time. But like I said, at the time I wasn't really making money, and I'm glad I brought it back the way I did. What I did is I went on Amazon and I got a binder. I think the binder cost $22, something like that. And now we're up to two binders, and we'll probably add a third, and then we'll stop at that. Each binder holds 300 photos, but some photos, some people get 2 or 3 photos because I don't see them in a few weeks, so they get stored in the same pocket. So we can hold about 500 photos, I think, in the book. But what's really cool is people come and see the Binder of Awesome, which was named by Terry Murphy, by the way, because she saw this at a Cobra race and she thought it was like the most awesome thing ever. So what happens is the riders come up and they see the table and they see the Binder of Awesome open, and they go through and they take their photos. I normally print one photo from each rider, normally the best shot that I think, which is always wrong. The photographer never knows which picture the rider likes. That's just a little secret. We think we know, but we don't. Right now, barrel racing photographers are laughing everywhere. But yeah, the Binder of Awesome, it's really nice. I love it when I see riders come up and they have little kids and they're flipping through the pages, and then when they find a photo of them, they're all smiles all over again. And it's worth every penny to give out free photos. But something happened that I wasn't expecting. Is people were taking their photos and putting a few dollars in the slot where they took the photo from, which is really, really cool. I was BSing with a grandparent, and as I was sitting there BSing with him, a kid came up and took the photo, and then another kid, and it was probably about 10 kids. And I was talking to him about how much it cost, because he was curious. And that day I printed 2 races. I did a Queen Creek Barrel Racing Association prints, and I also did a Cobra. And I think it came out to like $40, somewhere like that. So I says to him, I says, it was $46. I said to him, yeah, I says it cost $46 this week, no big deal. And he turned around and he reached into his pocket and had a $50 bill and he handed it to me. So it was kind of strange that I did it, and he insisted that I take it. So there's that. But between that and the people leaving money in the thing after taking their photos, I made money giving out free photos. And that seems to be the case every week. As I'm giving out the free photos and everybody thinks it's great and stuff, they're putting donations in. I should put a little tip jar there or maybe a Venmo QR code on the binder. I think that's probably the next step. Not that I'm looking for it, but it's cool to get, reimbursed for that. Uh, some grandparents think it's the greatest thing ever. I've had some grandparents come up and give me like $10, $20. So as you know, also with the $50 one that I remember very well. But the grandparents, they come to the races, and I've been thinking about this. They come to the races. The parents are paying the entry fees normally, and the parents are buying lunch for the kids if they go to the concession stand. So the grandparents really aren't spending any money at the races. So for them to donate to the Binder of Awesome, it's like their way of paying back to be able to watch their kids, their grandkids. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, the Binder of Awesome has totally changed. I never thought I would have uh, a great idea after the Positivity Posse, which is the greatest idea ever. Uh, if you go back to episode 9, I explain all of that. And we probably have 2 or 3 new Positivity Posse members since I've made the last podcast. So maybe we could do a podcast and get some of them on. That would be kind of cool. But yeah, the Binder are awesome. Seeing the kids' faces, and like I said, I'll be standing there and talking to a parent, and a kid will go into the binder and see their photo and pull it out, and then come up to me and not want to interrupt me. So what they do is they tug on my shirt, and with the biggest smile, they look up at me and they were like, "Thank you, Mr. Vinny." That has happened probably 100 times, which is the coolest thing. You can't beat that. So that's the Binder of Awesome. Make sure you stop by and see and get your photos. Right now, there is probably about 700 photos in the Binder of Awesome. So that's kind of cool. So no other photographers give out free photos at race events. Not that I know of. I told a couple of them what I'm doing, and you might see their own Binder of Awesome. I hope so, because the more kids get their photos, the better off it is. So another thing that we are working on is, or I should say, came out this week, is the Positive Pete book. I came up with the idea. I'm always about being positive at races. I don't like it when I see any negativity between riders, which happens a lot because we are dealing with uh, younger riders who are either jealous of each other or like to start rumors about each other and all that stuff. But I'm way past that. I want to be on the positive side. The more positive people that are there, the less negativity is there. So, excuse me, I want to take a sip of water. So, the Positive Pete book is 20 stories, and each one is a positive message that helps kids. I tell a story about how we have an owl who's scared of the dark, Positive Pete, who lives on the Hopeful Friends Ranch, and he was bullied on as a young horse because he has a heart on his cheek, and he got bullied for that, and it ends up being his greatest asset. So what I tell is Positive Pete on the ranch has a bunch of friends who are farm animals, and there is an owl. I'll use that as an example, who's scared of the dark. And what ends up happening is Positive Pete helps the owl. They try to brainstorm together, and they go out when it's sunset and it's just starting to turn dark, and they run into two Positivity Posse members. And between the four of them, they put their heads together and they see what's beautiful in the dark, and they see the fireflies and the stars, and it gets the owl over his uh, fear of the dark. So there's 20 stories like that. Uh, we touch on all different stuff. I actually have 40 stories written. So if it's not in the first book, it's in the second book. But we deal with bullying because Positive Pete was bullied. We got an owl who's scared of the dark. Kids who are scared to give speeches. Public speaking. I cover that. Just a whole bunch of stuff. But each story is meant to be read at bedtime, and they could be read all together in one shot, or they could be read, one each night. So that's book one in the Positive Pete book, and it's available on Amazon. It's $11 on Amazon, and on Kindle, I believe it's $2.99. And if you're in Kindle Unlimited on Amazon, it's free to read. So that's kind of cool. That's book number one. I don't know how many books there are going to be, but I can tell you that I'm halfway through writing book number two, which is Positive Pete Goes to School. So actually, it's Positive Pete and the Positivity Posse goes to school. So we're going to solve a whole bunch of problems. There's probably going to be a turtle that's slow at picking up math. There's probably somebody who's scared to raise their hand in class, even though they know the right answer. There's just going to be a whole bunch of stories like that. So I'm thinking there might be a new book every 2 or 3 weeks, the way I have a system down pat. And I'm also writing business books using the same system. So it's going to be one Positive Pete book and then one business book. So that's what we're up to there. So far, I haven't had the actual print copy. They sent me a proof copy, which is needed a little bit of work, which is done. So that's kind of cool. We've had sales already, and we've already had 3 reviews on Amazon, which is cool. We were in the top 100,000 in books for Amazon, which is a pretty big deal considering there's 19 million books. So there's that. So I think that's enough for now. I hope you're on the Southwest Barrels newsletter. There's going to be some changes to the newsletter. That's going to be important. We'll say this, that you'll never miss another barrel race again. So there you go. Thank you for listening all this time. It's nice to be back. And I guess I will just see you at the race.